Hey, welcome back to Blue Mountain Bushcraft and Outdoors. So, we have the first snowfall of the year for us here in Pennsylvania, and it's a pretty good one. It's already, I don't know, up above my knees, and it's still snowing like crazy, blowing. No sign of it stopping anytime soon. We're supposed to get this till tonight. So I figured, well, what better time to go out into the woods and try and start a fire, right? Yeah, let's go do that. Roads are terrible, so I'm not going out to any of my usual spots. We're just gonna walk out to the woods here, out back, and crank up a fire, boil some water, have some tea, and go back home and shovel out. We've got some resources here along this fence row. There should be more down in the woods. It's got some snow in it, but it's cold enough, it should be mostly dry. So I'm gonna gather some of that up as I go. Okay, so I've made it down to the tree line down a hill. I'm mostly out of the wind, it's not too bad now. That's really taken a lot of the bite out of the cold. Without the wind, it's not terrible. The problem that you need to consider with weather like this is the amount of work it takes to get to this level of snow, especially without snowshoes. This isn't snowshoe country here. We don't get this kind of snow very often, so I don't have a whole lot of use for them. And post-holing through knee-deep snow is a lot of effort. So I'm dressed pretty well, but as you can see, maybe I've got everything opened up to allow my body to cool off, hats off, just so I don't work up a sweat. I'm not all that terribly far from home, so unless I get some sort of a major mechanical injury and my phone's dead, getting home for me is not going to be a problem. But if you're stuck out here, keeping that thermoregulation where it needs to be is imperative. So you need to dress warm enough for the weather, but balance that warmth with the exertion that you're going to be doing so you're not sweating. As soon as you start sweating, you're going to be in trouble. All right, got tinder, some anyway. Let's get down deeper into these woods. Okay, so I've got a spot here just on the other side of that big section of brush is open field, but I'm down in a little bit of a depression. That brush is actually working as a pretty nice windbreak, so it's not too bad here. This is where I'm going to set up camp. Tinder that we gathered on the way down here. Just going to use my shemagh to cover that up, try and keep that dry while I gather some wood. There's plenty of dead standing wood in here. There's a nice big pine tree there full of dead branches. So first things first, I'm going to clear out a spot, figure out where I'm going to set up my tarp, and get moving. Just going to be using a USGI poncho today for our tarp. Alright, I've got wood. Tarp's not that great a setup. Plenty of small stuff here. What do you say? Should we try the flint and steel kit? Yeah, why not? That doesn't work, we'll go to the ferro rod. This little kit is one of Justin Wolf's affordable woodsman kits. It's pretty nice. Got a place for a Fresnel lens, which don't need today, and a sleeve for your Altoids tin box. And I always carry some jute twine too. They're pretty slick. Oh, this is all so damp. No dice. Let's try something else. Alright, let's try this again. Got some jute to mix in this time. Hopefully that'll be enough to help it catch. Everything's pretty wet. Oh, come on. I gotta tell you, you need to use flint and steel more often. Sure is a lot more efficient. Did want to touch on the tools that I used today. One was, well, let's face it, one was mostly just for fun. The other one is an old reliable, if I can find it in my pack here. Oh, right here it is. First is my knife. This is my Gerber Prodigy. You guys have seen this before if you've watched many of my many of the videos on my channel. There is no knife that I own that will make fine feathers in as much abundance and as quickly as this knife. And when you've got so much moisture coming down around you, being able to do this stuff quickly and easily is pretty important as far as I'm concerned. I certainly could have done this with a Mora or a straight edge knife, but this just makes the job so much easier. Big fan of that knife. Other tool that I used was relatively new to me, very new to me. It's an RMJ 2015 Little Bird Tomahawk. This thing's a little beast. It chops really well. It took the branches off of that pine tree without any trouble whatsoever. This textured G10 grit is fantastic. It's not too terribly abrasive in the hand, but it really locks the handle in place. It's not slippery at all. Do have to watch out for that sharpened spike. I caught the back of my hand, sliced it open pretty good, but that's all right. It's not your knife until you cut yourself with it, right? Not your hawk in this case. All right, guys. I don't have too much more I'm going to do today. I just wanted to come out here in a little bit more extreme weather than I'm used to and get a fire going. My buddy Gary from Kydex Company C2G Fab challenged me to do a friction fire. Frankly, I'm not good enough at friction fires, although this would have been a perfect time to practice. But instead I took a slightly easier way out and did a flint and steel fire. Even with gathering tinder along the way, trying to keep it dry with all this snow and a tarp and all that, it was just really tough to keep the moisture out of it. So first attempt with the flint and steel wasn't successful. I had to resort to using some jute twine that I brought and loading it up with some extra charred punk wood to hold that ember longer so I could get more heat, dry out all that material around it until it was hot enough to catch flame. And that worked the second time pretty well. We got it going. We got a nice fire. We got some tea brewing. I'm as warm as can be. So I suppose sooner or later I'm going to have to leave the woods and go shovel my driveway. Yuck. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye. You see what you're missing, Gary? All the way down there in Texas. I need snowshoes.